Hey everyone, welcome back to the LMI podcast, Lawyers, Mediators International, where we talk about law and conflict resolution topics to educate both professionals and everyday people. I am here back with Katy Harris from the UK. And Katy, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Mac, how are you?
Yes, good to see you again. You've been on several times. We've talked about different things that you work on that have been happening out there in terms of conflict resolution, mediation. You are quite the world traveler. You've been here to the US many times. And so it's always good to get other voices and these different topics dealing with conflict and how to
Mhm.
resolve them and solve them in people's lives. Before we get into the meat of our conversation about some of the trends we both see, happening in family mediations, just wanted to bring to people's attention the Bridging the Gap Conference 2026 that you, and as head of Mediation Matters Midland, is hosting or helping host in London. So let me go ahead and share my screen so people can see it.
Mhm.
And this is the site, of course, bridgingthegap2026.co.uk. Folks are encouraged to go over there and register so that they can attend in London, March 18th, 20th, 2026. It's presented by Amicable Divorce Network, which you are part of, as well as Mediation Matters Midland. And I'll share that website in a minute. But why don't you go ahead and remind people what this conference is all about and just why they should come?
So, yes, it's co-hosted. Oh, there I am with Tracy. So Tracy is the owner of the Amicable Divorce Network, which she set up, which focuses on amicable divorces. So non-litigated court cases. So promoting the need for collaboration when divorce occurs, because of course it's a difficult time. So she set up that so that she could move away from all of the court work that she was doing and move into a calmer and more friendly way of working as a family law attorney. I guess you are in America. We're solicitors over here. I am the owner of the Mediation Matters Midlands and the London Mediation Company. So Tracy and I together wanted to host a joint conference so we could bring together like-minded people, so we could enhance the information that we share and also to try and link some of those gaps between the different people that we work with and the different people that we should be able to link in with when families go through separation. So that would be what we have over here as CAFCAS, which is the Court and Family Service, who work on behalf of the courts to speak to children. That essentially they're social workers, therapists, solicitors, mediators, judges, barristers, all of those who may wish to come and learn more around how we can help families better when they divorce, in particular with the huge focus on children, child inclusive mediation that we have over here in the UK, and the importance of the child's voice, but also the importance of us as professionals, our knowledge around things like alienation and alignment, resist refusal. So we've got Bill Eddy and Megan Hunter from the High Conflict Institute coming. They'll be talking about the child's, the conflict brain, the impact of children, and all of the information that they do, the brilliant work that they do at the High Conflict Institute. We've got the head of the family division for the whole of England and Wales coming to speak. So that would be Sir Andrew McFarlane. We have got a play which is written by a judge at the end of day one. So slightly different way of approaching things in family law. But I think that's really important because a big part of the work that I do is enhancing people's knowledge around how does divorce work? What do we need to know? How do we need to manage it? What are the things that occur? And actually, I think looking at different facets to be able to educate people. So you've got it right there, Daisy through the looking glass is one of the reasons, a form of media for us to be able to help the public to understand really what goes on, how they can get help, etc. So, yes, Stephen Wildblood, the judge who's written that play, he stepped down now, recognizing that the family system isn't particularly good. It's not the right place for most families to be, and so his work now is enhancing people's knowledge about where to go and what they can do when separation occurs, particularly with families involved. We've got some of the most amazing speakers. I'm so proud of the lineup that we've got. We've got professors, I'll get my words out. Gigi Gutierrez, Professor Gigi Gutierrez. I was speaking with her earlier today around her plans. She's going to be speaking with Jessie de Grafton Reed also on the importance of the breaking that school to prison pipeline, how we need to be able to educate children. I've got Lucy Morrison-Childs, my colleague, who is a specialist in mental health, and she's worked with me to develop the program that we deliver in schools called Resolve, which is to educate children on conflict resolution, being able to resolve conflicts and de-escalate. So all of those skills that we use that I don't know why we don't just teach these in all schools. We're teaching all these other things, but not the core skills that I think all humans need to be able to manage in the world. So, and I've been chatting also, I forgot to tell you, you asked me, is there anything exciting coming up? I've got a potential trip to Jamaica this month. So I don't know how I forgot that. It's not booked yet. Because again, we're working together to help to spread the knowledge, the understanding around the world, but in particular in places where they are really struggling with their conflict. So that was a long bit of blab from me. I'm so sorry. I just went off on a total
Oh,
tangent.
no. It's good to hear. It's good to hear. First, on the website, I do see that the website has been updated since the last time we spoke about this. And so folks need to head over there and check out the agenda and the ticket information, sponsorships, everything is there. Time's running out because we're in January 6th today. This is like March 19th. So it's around the corner.
So get your
Say what?
So
Exactly. So I've been to London before and I would love to make it. I'm still trying to see if I'm going to be out there, but I think that folks should definitely, if they're interested in any kind of issues dealing with the family and how to resolve family conflicts outside of the courtroom, whether it deals with the financials or the mental health aspects or raising children, all of it. I know that's your strength. You love kids. And so it's good to hear about Resolve as well. I knew about that, but it's good reminder that peer mediation is not going anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And educating, they're our next generation of parents, right? They're the next generation who are going to marry, have kids, divorce, and not know how to deal with it. So just being able to put in those core skills, de-escalation, negotiation, all of the things that we need to manage things effectively.
Absolutely. Okay, and as far as Jamaica goes, this is a great time to go this part of the year. It's going to be beautiful. So
I'm hoping, fingers crossed. I'm just hoping there's no issues with the flights and the airspace. So let's see.
Yes. I know they had some tragedies back, this past year because of the hurricanes.
Yeah.
But they're resilient people, and I was born in a neighboring country, and so I know that they will definitely get through it. All right. So I got a chance to showcase your website as well, Mediation Matters, and people can check out that. And I'll put the links, of course, in the video. But let's switch and pivot a little bit to, I guess, trends that we're both seeing year after year in this area of family law, family mediation. Not really family law, but I'm still a litigator. I still go to court. I still handle cases dealing with children and their parents. But my passion, as people have come to know, is to take those kind of cases and resolve them at the table. And it's become just the work of my life. And so when we were talking before we started recording, there's a lot of similarities in the field of family mediations that happen every year, where there's ebbs and there's flows. There are traditions that we typically see. And I hear that you have a phrase in the UK called, say it one more time, Divorce Day.
Monday,
the first
after the holidays.
Divorce Day, the first Monday after the holidays, right? And I don't think I've heard it called Divorce Day in the US, but we definitely have the same thing. Traditionally, the first couple of weeks of January, there's an uptick in people filing for divorce or filing after separation for custody arrangements. And definitely my phones are ringing off the hooks. They've been sold this week. And so you get ready for this. And every lawyer who does these kind of cases know that come the first month of January, you have to get ready for the new swell of cases that are going to be, calling your office. So tell me a little bit about this ebb you see over the years. Have you seen it die down during the holidays, or has it just been consistent as an exception?
It has been consistent as an exception. So, um, the surge in divorce inquiries that would usually be seen on what we would class as Divorce Day, um, that's generally where the lawyers, so the solicitors over here, get their initial inquiries. The phones ring off the hook, the emails don't stop.
Yep.
Usually, as a mediator, I tend to get towards the end of January is when we normally have that surge,
Yes.
because post separation, people would have previously gone to their lawyers for advice, etc., and then they would probably be told that they need to mediate or
Correct.
come to a mediator to get a MIAM certificate. So we would normally have a slight lull after Christmas, and then we would have a surge towards the end of January with the people who have gone through solicitors and then to us. But I think that people are now becoming more aware. I think solicitors and lawyers are working more so with us as mediators to explain to their clients that actually the first thing that you need to do is attend the MIAM, so the Mediation Information Assessment meeting, which we had a whole podcast discussion on. So we do those
Yep.
over here in the UK before we start to mediate with any families. That provides information to potential clients around whether they want to mediate, whether they want to litigate, whether they want to consider early neutral evaluation or arbitration, all of the options to explore during that MIAM session. So I think we're getting better at that, and society as a whole knowing that they do have options, that it isn't you're divorcing, you need to go and fight, and you go and arm yourselves with solicitors that we have over here. Sorry, I keep saying solicitors, they're
Yes.
attorneys to you guys. So I think it either people are really not liking their partners this Christmas, and there's lots more people, or I think society is becoming a little bit more aware of their options, which is so important to me. Same as you, Mac. I don't, I'm a huge advocate for resolving things outside of the courts,
Yeah.
away from there needing to be that combative approach to separation, fighting over the children, fighting over finances. Whereas people can now see that actually there's a different way that we can resolve this, and we can do that collaboratively with the other person, where we're not having to sling mud and allegations, etc., at the other person, but actually we can look at what mutually the clients want, where those align, where they don't align, and then work with them to find solutions to their needs, not the requests necessarily of what they're asking for, but understanding the needs underneath those requests, and then meeting those needs in a way that we can explore more broadly and work together to find that solution, in a nice, kind way. With
Yes, yes. And I'm curious if when the studies are done, what some of the findings will be. Like we had this effect right after COVID, the pandemic, people were locked down. And as
Mhm.
soon as the people were back and no longer had to stay, cooped up in their home, people started filing for divorce at a massive
Mhm.
rate. I think we saw that happen. I'm curious if that happened as well in your country.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And I think when you look at if you look at sociology and psychology, it all makes sense. We we don't we don't live in a world now where we do well being cooped up together.
Yeah.
So Christmas, I'm not a fan of Christmas, so you can officially call me the Grinch. I won't be offended. But it brings with it so many stresses. There's so many pressures on families. There's time together. There's extended family, in-laws. We can't ignore the fact that these things can be very triggering and very challenging. And when you put them all together, children off school for long periods, kids in a house, certainly over here in the colder parts of America, cold weather, we can't get out, you don't have that space, money troubles, expectations, sitting around the dinner fighting over the turkey and the sprouts, right?
Yeah.
So I think we'd be daft to not say, of course there's going to be ebbs and flows. Divorce isn't a single event, is it? It unfolds in cycles of hope, fear, anger, relief, grief, all of those will occur, but that cycle will start before somebody presses the button for a divorce. There will always be one person who's in a different place on that cycle of grief. And there's always, anything that ends has to have a cycle of grief to some level. And one person will hit it. They'll be in that different place. They'll have gone through the denial and the
Yeah.
hope and the fear, and they'll have got to the point where they can say, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And those things are going to trigger it. All it takes is that final thing to say, I've had enough. It doesn't just happen over Christmas. It is always an escalation of time. And I think, again, marriages are on the decline, divorce is on the incline. I was talking to someone about this earlier today. We don't live in a world now where people marry and they marry forever.
Mm.
It's accepted that many of us have multiple marriages, and that's okay. Where you look at 100 years ago, that would never have happened. It wasn't something that we did. So I think, again, we're kind of living in a world where everything's quick, everything's done. Look at AI, you've got your answers there, everything's done. You order from Amazon, it's here the same day, the next day. No one wants to wait for anything. Everything's upgradable, everything's replaceable, everything needs to be quicker. So yeah, why would you not upgrade your wife or upgrade your husband? That seems to be what people are doing. Um, and it seems that everything's disposable. Upgrade your phone, upgrade your computer, and upgrade people want to upgrade their
Relationships. Yeah.
partners. I'm not an advocate for that. I'm
Yeah.
very much like, for me, I married for till death does do part. My ex-husband didn't feel the same. But that was my expectation. But many people don't see it like that. And that's okay. But I think we've got to accept that is the way that the world that we live in now.
Yeah. And we need to accept that then has consequences, especially for children, right? Because then they're going to be in the mix, and the state's got to have an interest to make sure that parents support their kids, parents have access to their children, because sometimes parents then get into it and conflict occurs, which is what you and I are there for, right? To help them. I think for what I had always said with regards to when there's a spike in people going ahead and pulling the trigger and filing, it's right after tax day. Here in the US, that's officially April 15th. And so that's generally when parents will have started receiving tax refund checks. And I think there's this is just my theory, just from the patterns I've seen. I think that most people realize that divorce is a very expensive proposition, and lawyers are very expensive as well. And so a lot of times people find themselves needing a big infusion of cash in order to start the process. And for many people, that big infusion of cash comes right around tax season, when there's refund checks being sent out by the federal government. Everyone knows this, right? There's literal businesses, like promoting, hey, you got your tax refund check, come over here and, buy this and this and this. And so car companies do it, vacation places do it. Everyone does it because we all know that right around March and April, everyone's going to be getting some kind of cash because they probably overpaid in their taxes, and therefore they're entitled to a refund. So I know for a fact, in the last 15 years, many cases I've handled, that's when people decide to actually hire you, because they realize, okay, that's where I'm going to get my money. So lawyers are waiting around April. Trust me, that's what's happening here. And they might deny it, but it's happening.
I think something else along with that, Mac, I don't think it's necessarily just the infusion of money.
Yep.
I think also that does make people feel more money. It makes a lot of people feel more confident, more independent, more powerful. So yes, those two things together, hand in hand, feeling more comfortable, more powerful, more independent, and you've also got the money to do it. It's like two triggers being pushed at the same time, isn't it? So it'd be interesting for me to look at that, because I don't think it works quite the same over here, because I don't think we tend to have that many tax rebates. But I might have to look into it, because that'll be an interesting one. We definitely have.
When the studies are done, I think people are going to see that correlation. I think it's absolutely true, because I've just witnessed it personally over the years. The other thing I was going to say is the infusion of technology. With technology growing leaps and bounds, especially with, I'm able to talk to you right now across the ocean without even thinking about it, right?
Yep.
You just had to click a link. So
Hmm.
that's amazing. We take it for granted. 100 years ago, who would imagine that? And so, because people are now able to basically go to mediation anywhere and resolve their differences via mediators like you and me just on video, I think that creates a convenience factor
Hmm.
that
Absolutely.
absolutely, creates a spike in people being able to be like, you know what, we can make this fluidity in the system now. It's
Hmm.
not so balkanized and broken up anymore like in the past. Now, if you want something, you can make it happen in very, very short order.
Hmm.
So that's kind of why years ago I came up with the idea of instantmediations.com, instantmediators.com, the idea of getting to the mediation table quick without having to live under the burden of conflict for
Hmm.
weeks or months,
Yeah.
especially with very slow court systems.
Hmm.
Now you can potentially, in theory, in Texas anyway, get a divorce done by the 60-day deadline. That's the
I was
earliest day the judge could grant a divorce.
I was just going to ask you about that actually. So, because here we have, so we have like it's in stages now. So we have
Yep.
you apply for your divorce application.
Yep.
That is processed fairly quickly, couple of weeks or so. You normally then get an acceptance. So they just check for the legitimacy and the
Yep.
legalities that there was a recognizable marriage, and then the 20-week period. We have 20 weeks cooling off period before
Got
then
it.
they would reach what's known as the conditional order. They
Yep.
can apply for the conditional order. Once that's applied for, only then can a court consider, even just the paperwork side, whether their proposals for their financial separation is or is not in line with our laws. Prior to that, nothing can go through the courts
Correct.
for it considered.
Correct.
So you have 60 days.
Yes, 60-day cool down period. People sometimes cancel the divorce, sometimes they make up, sometimes they reconcile. And so
Mhm.
we want to give people that opportunity. There are exceptions if you are suffering from family violence, for example, or if you are having to go overseas in the military, or if you are on a deathbed and you need to marry in short order, but you can't marry unless 30 days has passed after your prior divorce. The
Okay.
court's allowed to make an exception and let you go ahead and get divorced sooner. But typically, most of the time, judges will not give the exception. The statute's clear. You must wait for at least 60 days. And then the 61st day, the court can go ahead and grant the divorce. So people who call my office, especially if they want a mediation, are told, and theory and practice, we could get this divorce case completely done and wrapped up by the 59th day, and you're on your way. So I think technology is what has made that possible because
Mhm.
before you're stuck waiting on paper mail. And so I think that's what the studies are going to show years from now. Technology made a big deal. And of course, I think again, money.
I think I think there's a huge big deal about. I think we probably need to acknowledge here as well that we're not kind of here to promote divorce, but
Correct.
but
Absolutely not.
we are here to say that sometimes separation is the right thing. You know, if it's an unhappy marriage, particularly where there's children involved, then staying in an unstable relationship is not um, positive for the children. So we're not advocating for divorce, but we are saying, it is important that people do have that ability to get out because there are sometimes, and we know the impact that it has on children where there is conflict in the family. It's a really, really negative thing for them. But I guess where we are is when we were back in the day where you had to physically go, like pre-COVID, we had to
Sure.
physically go to a mediator and we had to physically go to a solicitor and all of those things.
Yep.
I think it's twofold. One, it may have given people time to reflect and make a different decision. So we're not kind of fast tracking them into divorce. But I think with that comes all of the stresses, the additional stresses, the paperwork, the getting from A to B, the needing to go to a physical appointment, all of those things that actually would have potentially enhanced things where they may have been able to rectify things or reflect and change their mind had they not have had those additional pressures. So I think it's important we look at both sides as well as not kind of just why this is beneficial to be able to do it quickly, but actually why we need to be able to do that and be able to manage it effectively so that we're giving people the right support and the right information about what their choices are. And that's the biggest thing is getting in early with people and being able to give them the information about what options are available to them.
Yes. Well, I think that would be a good segue for us to just showcase Amicable Divorce Network real quick.
Yeah, of course.
I will go ahead and share my screen and then we can
So,
wrap up.
yeah. So, as I said, Tracy set up the Amicable Divorce Network. It's the only organisation in the world. Oh, it's there. Only organisation in the world that vets divorce professionals. So, I'm a member of that organisation. I'm very much pro. Oh, look, there's our
Yep.
promotion for the conference. So, yeah, we're very much Tracy and I are very much aligned in our views about the importance of keeping things as amicable as possible,
Yeah.
less conflict, of course, less costs, better mental health and emotional well-being for people. So yeah, really important.
Yes, absolutely. And so you guys do a whole lot of work all around the world. And
Mhm.
the big thing you guys are co-sponsoring will be London. And folks are welcome to sign up. And then that will be it that will be the big event that you guys are hosting this year.
Oh, absolutely. So this is so the Amicable Divorce Network generally has one annual conference. This year it is the London conference. So
Yes.
Tracy and myself, as I said, we're working together to make this happen. Tracy has generally done all of her conferences in America. She's from America, so that makes sense. So I've lured her out of her safe space and over the pond to the UK so that we can do this together. And I'm really excited about it. Ticket sales are great. We've got, as I said, the most amazing lineup sponsors. We've got great sponsors, Our Family Wizard, Leap, High Conflict Institute. Gosh, I can't even think about the others to name off the top of my head. They're going to be cross at me, aren't they? We've still got a couple of sponsor slots remaining. Actually, we've got still availability if a company or someone wants to sponsor for the cocktails after day one, and we've also got the sponsorship for the play, so, and a couple of other sponsorship slots as well. So anyone that's interested, drop us an email either to myself at Mediation Matters Midlands, to Tracy at Amicable Divorce Network, or through the website bridging the gap bridging the gap
Def-
2026.co.uk.
Definitely does. I saw the sponsorship pages. So I'll put all the links on the show
Yeah.
notes on lmipodcast.com and then on the YouTube channel as well. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Katy Harris, thank you so much for coming on to lmipodcast.com where we talk about law and conflict. So until next time, everybody, check out this video and all the other ones. And let's keep discussing how do we help families resolve the differences. All right. Absolutely. Take care. Till next
Thank
time.
you.